You don't owe society nothing. You were created. And you did exactly what this society created you to do.
Woo.
And you went to prison.
Say that shit.
And somewhere along the line, you figured out that wasn't the right thing to do. And you don't owe nobody but yourself to do right for your folks, the people that you come from, the actual community that you probably hurt because of those people. Because of these people.
What's up, y'all? We Uncaged Potential Justice from the ground up. I'm Britt, this Rodney, and we out here on No Kings Day. It's June 14th, Trump birthday. Fuck that nigga. What you gotta say, Rodney?
Yeah, we just out here to getting people opinions on, youth incarceration and transformative justice and how we can better our community.
Do y'all believe youth, kids, belong in prison?
Absolutely not.
Fuck no.
No. No.
Why not?
Because, young people make mistakes. We all make mistakes. And, some of the mistakes can be forgiven.
We got to help all of the kids that we can. The kids are the future of this country. And do you want to raise them to be afraid of the country they live in? Or do you want to raise them to stand up and fight for it?
We need time to learn. It's where our education's being taken away.
All of our prison is bullshit. All of our prison is draconian. It's
disgusting. All fucking
bullshit.
This is about rehabilitation, a change for society, and being free. How can we make a change if we put children in prisons?
It's not prison that somebody needs. They need to be taught that there's other paths that are available.
For sure. And what some alternatives our young people need?
I would say better connection to the community and just rehabilitation throughout the city to give more to the youth to keep them entertained and give them something to do.
I think we need better rehabilitation for people that are youth. I mean, we have a prison system that promotes a cycle of poverty and violence and things like that. You throw people into jail, especially in their youth, and that really helps perpetuate that cycle, that system that we have in the U.S. that's really about incarceration and not about trying to promote better well-being for everybody.
We need a type of system that promotes empathy and actually steps to help people become citizens, because we have a lot of opportunities in this country, but it's kind of dwindling now.
All right, so my question for you is, what do Philly do for the youth in the city?
Philly support youth people. They get them their documents, they get them their IDs, but I work in the market park, so we just give out food to people who sign up who's over 18, and they just help the community. They just do a lot for the community. It's a lot of opportunities there. I recommend go to Philly if you actually want to get a real job.
I think that everyone, regardless if you look like someone else and that's who's being targeted, you gotta fight no matter what you look like or whoever's being targeted, because we're all being fucking targeted. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we all bleed fucking red and we're all fucking red on the inside. So we're all being fucking targeted.
Because I'm Puerto Rican, we're technically legal. Our land it colonized, but we're Hispanic. Mexicans are Hispanic, Cubans are Hispanics, Dominicans are Hispanic, but our brothers and sisters are not legal and they're getting kicked out. Why? Why do we get that privilege?
It's not only about immigration, it's about people's rights, it's about freedom, it's about the First Amendment and people having a right to their rights.
What is a message you'll give the Trump or our Philadelphia's DA, Larry Krasner?
Honestly, it doesn't make sense that we have to even do this fucking protest. Sorry for cursing. It's just that we're at the point in history, at least, where it's repeating itself. It's not like this is the first time this has happened, and it's not going to be the last time that this happens. But this is a time frame where young people, it's not just older people, it's everybody standing up. It's so many rights being trampled on at this moment.
Have a heart. Be kind.
Don't be so rude and judge people, calling everyone immigrants and criminals just because they're immigrants.
To Trump, you act like you're a Christian, but the golden rule is treat others how you want to be treated. And one of the commandments is love thy neighbor. So why are you trying to treat people like they're less than and then not love thy neighbor?
Just stop trying to ruin the entire United States. We have a constitution for a reason. Yes, it's not fucking perfect. Yes, there's a ton of issues with it. The whole point is so that we can fix it as much as we can. The founding fathers didn't initially put leeway because they knew that there are stuff that they may not be able to fix right now. Now you're going back and using those leeways to change it? No. Like the fact that he's a fucking felon. I thought that felons couldn't go for couldn't even vote.
Yeah.
So you can't vote and be a felon, but you can run for presidency? How is that? How does make that make sense? Like,
say a prayer for our youth. It's like every time I turn around, been trying not to crash out like my name is Bandicoot. But I know we won't see change until we stand up for our roots. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm the voice of Philly, vouching for all of the Philly teams. And I promise we gon' get it done, I mean by any means.
And we are Uncaged Potential.
Justice from the ground up.
What's up, y'all? I'm Britt. This is Nahi. This is Ronnie. We're Uncaged Potential Justice from the ground up. And we here with y'all today to talk about transformative justice. We're going to have a nice, clean, cute conversation just about what our youth need, what the community need, and how we can transform this system. Ronnie, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. Hey guys, it's Rodney, community organizer, youth advocate, and I'm just excited to be here and to be able to give my opinions on transformative justice.
For sure. Nahi, how you feeling? What's up, sis?
My name is Nahi. I'm feeling well.
All right, let's jump right into it. What do y'all see in the streets right now with our young people, whether it's in the organizations y'all work with, whether it's what y'all see in the news, the media, the police? What do you see happening to our young people today in regards of like just being incarcerated, being connected to the cops?
They're not looking at the bigger picture as far as like the community is like not many resources, and the resources that are available you don't really know about.
We all know that saying, it takes a village, right? But some I noticed in our communities is a lot of the village stopped participating. And now, like, a lot of these spaces, folks don't intervene until our young people do something to get themselves arrested or was falsely accused or whatever it is. And then now they start talking about, oh, well, these kids are this, these kids are that. It's the parents, it's everything under the sun except for the community that displays whatever behavior these kids is emulating. But also our governmental system, if you strip resources from a community that once had set resources, because I remember I grew up in Philly, I know y'all grew up in Philly too. I've seen a lot rec centers, the football teams, the basketball teams, the events they would have, especially during the summertime. They used to go so hard for our kids, the block parties, all of that. And now it seems like a lot of folks pulled back, but we're so quick to villainize our young people. But then when we think about like all the supports we had growing up, and we still had it hard despite those supports, but if you strip that from a kid, and then now you're attacking that kid, blaming that kid, and they already got not the worst education. Let's be real, Philadelphia school district kind of suck, unless it's a special mid school or one of the, the local Philly Ivy Leagues, like, Central Girls High, stuff like that. But our regular day-to-day schools isn't what they used to be, and they was never nothing special. So when you take the bare minimum resources that we did have away from our kids, and then now our kids are bored, or our kids is emulating behaviors that seem fun based off the media or based off what their community is doing. What more can we expect from them? But then we blame them when we're kind of the problem. Like myself included, I know I participated in some nut-ass behavior, and I might have not been the best role model for my young people. What's your thoughts on that?
So like I feel like a part of the problem that we struggle with as a community, we know we come from Black minority communities, we come from poverty. Unfortunately, we have a lot of harmful behaviors to unlearn, how to think critically, how to communicate effectively, and how to just apply ourselves. And I feel like a lot of individuals, Black and people of color, we have kids, and we don't learn how to unlearn those behaviors or how to think critically or apply yourself, and that becomes a part of the problem because we have kids, and then we're not able to support them the way that we are supposed to, and that causes them to grow up and they're not receiving the love and support that they should receive in order to grow and be a human being who know how to communicate effectively or think critically or apply themselves. And so it's a pattern. So I feel like that's part of the harmful cycle. And we're part of the harmful cycle. We keep it going in a sense by simply, as I just mentioned, having kids and not being okay mentally, emotionally, and financially.
So we talking generational curses right here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
I do agree with that.
What's some generational curses you're dismantling right now for your children and not here, if your mommy asks you?
That's just like past trauma. Sometimes I have to catch myself when I'm screaming at them because they're still young, so I have to like remind myself, like about their ages. My kids is 2, 3, 4, and 5. So they're still little. So
I'm patient, but sometimes it's hard to be patient with toddlers, basically. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like tend to scream a lot, and sometimes like it might not be a lot to like other people, because you know people be screaming at their kids, but it's a lot to me because you know growing up it was kind of hard for me because I went through like what's that verbal abuse. So like sometimes I feel like I do that to my kids without meaning to, and like I have to, you know, like I said earlier, check myself.
You said you've been verbally abused in the past by your parents, so growing up and now you're raising your kids, even the slight raising of voice and the yelling sometimes feels like you back in that place. And it's like, wait, hold on, let me check myself. These my babies, I love them, and I don't want them to be afraid like I was. So I definitely feel that. Because I don't have kids, just to be clear, but I know I teach kids. And I'm an educator, and I have healing spaces with young people, middle schoolers, high schoolers, and sometimes in certain moments, I find myself about to use those nut-ass behaviors that the adults around me used to use when they was educating me. You know, that sarcasm, that the coy disrespect that they throw at kids, and I'd be like, hold the fuck up, yo. Because one, I had a boss, she actually taught me this, and she told me, see, it might have been one of my favorite bosses. I don't know, maybe it's because she was a Capricorn and I'm a Capricorn. But she said, you got to remember, they just got here. Yeah. Even if they toddlers, even if they middle schoolers, even if they high schoolers, 10 years ain't that long, 15 years ain't that long, they just got here. And a lot of the things they're experiencing is for the first time. So whether that's like a temper tantrum because you ain't cut the apple the way you were supposed to, you know, kids be crazy sometimes, or it's that first heartbreak or that first argument with the teacher, you got, and then so whenever I like act, especially with the young people I work with, because I've been in spaces where adults in schools, in organizations, would treat me a certain way, and I'd be like, hold the fuck up. And now I'm about to clap back, and who get in trouble? Me, right? So I'd be like, let me check myself before I check this young boy, because I might be modeling those behaviors that I was taught. So it's like generational curses from the outside looking in, kind of. What's your thoughts, Rodney, about that?
Oh no, you're fine. So yeah, just to add to my statement, so like, you know, when all those things I just mentioned, and you know, like kids not being raised properly and everything, and that also falls into like the parent not being raised properly, and going into like, as they grow older, you know, they put out certain behaviors and they start to indulge in certain activities. Unfortunately, like, you know, the system gets them. So like one thing like I used to say is be like, okay, when a person say like my kid saved me, who gonna save the child, Neil? Because we know all the things that they're about to face, or we might not. And you know, it's more. We know that they're about to face probably even more harmful things that we faced growing up. And then, you know, it's a cycle. You know, they go into the system, and we know like once an individual goes into the system that they're not being rehabilitated, they're being institutionalized, and when they're released, it puts them at a higher rate for recidivism. So, you know, they end up getting, you know, being rearrested or going outside and just like, you know, indulging in certain activities or teaching other individuals, and it just becomes a cycle. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Nah, for sure, I appreciate that. And you brought us into the next segue. Speaking of the system, because we all got our own form of being in the system at one point, whether it was juvenile justice, child welfare, I did both. It's not a good thing that happened though. So we lived that shit. We've been there. We've been in these spaces where we didn't have control of what was going on in our lives, or things was happening to us. And I know we all been to court where we ain't know what the hell was going on. Based off our experience that we had, what we saw, and we all work with young people that's currently in the system. You with Juvenile Law Center, you with like Philly Gas, and all the other organizations you rock with, and y'all know me. We in the building. What do we see in these spaces, in these systems, that is still going on to this day? Because I haven't been in the system in years. But when I meet a new kid, when I meet a young person, whether they've been adopted, foster care, been arrested, they telling me stories, and I almost feel like ain't shit changed. What's going on in these spaces? Like, what's going on in these spaces? What do y'all see in our young people, and what do these systems need the tweak that they still haven't, even though we probably been telling them to change it for decades now?
I think it's like the lack of support. Like y'all we supposed to have like all the support around us, our attorneys, our caseworkers, but they're not really there for us. They're just there, to get paid. So the lack of support is definitely one of those.
And then they always say they overworked, and in some ways I can see it, but then in some other ways I also see you not trying as hard as you could have. What's your thoughts, Rodney? What you see in these spaces with our young people?
What a coincidence that nothing hasn't changed in the system, and with everything that's going on. And then also I feel like it's really, I don't feel like it's a way to fix the system, and I feel like, as I mentioned before, if I was to give ideas or say there's a way to fix the system, that means I would also be agreeing that there should be a system, which I do not believe in. And I believe that there shouldn't be a system. So there's no way to fix it. And there are other alternatives and other options that, we can use to the standards that we can rehabilitate an individual, but prison is not it.
Yeah, and prison has never been it. Y'all read Angela Davis' book, Are Prisons Obsolete?
No, I would love to read it.
Y'all gotta check it out, and it's a little small pocket baby too. And in the first couple pages, she answered the question so clearly, and it's prisons are obsolete. They're not doing anything for us except for making money for the government that none of us see, even though we taxpayers that pay to keep it in cycle. So speaking of alternatives, what's an alternative that the first one I'm gonna do is an alternative to incarceration for our young people, and then the second one is what is a community, something that needs to be implemented within your community for the young people directly. If we was to shut down JJSC today, what would we do with them kids? Well, maybe not today, maybe next month. We got prepared. But if we was to shut them down, how will we support these young people? What can we implement for them directly?
So my opinion would be, even though we have some orgs out here, that work with youth and where they can come and participate in different things to keep them out of trouble. But I also feel like it should be more orgs and more businesses ran by individuals, nonprofits, not businesses, nonprofits that are ran by people that look like them. That are Black, that creates a whole different level of comfort. And unfortunately, it's always out here in a lot of places that do help individuals, but you go to these places and you don't really see people that look like you, or people that come from where you come from. You see people that want to come from suburban neighborhoods, went to school, got a degree, and this is their passion, this is what they want to do, but they don't really know how to support these individuals. So just more programs ran by people that are Black and people of color.
So create more spaces in the city and all over the U.S., but spaces that actually look like these kids being impacted by it. I feel that. What's your thoughts on that here? What's some alternatives you'll throw out?
Something that everybody could get help from.
So mental health supports. I actually feel that because the whole hood got PTSD. It was a meme that I seen, and it was crazy because I seen it it was a few hours before I was doing, I was running this grief group with him and her people, and it was young people at Youth Build who, been impacted by community violence and stuff like that. And I seen the meme right before I got there, and it was the whole hood got PTSD. And I was like, nah, that's real shit. Just perpetual violence, bullshit, just the police constantly being in our communities and not helping. It's so much that builds up to that where it's hard to recover. So having mental health resources for our kids is so crucial. Or just for our people in general, especially since, only 10% of therapists are Black. Which is crazy. I actually know 3 people in the 10%, so I think that's kind of cool. And I'm going to be in the 10% soon. So hopefully it's 11% by then. But nah, for real, I think an alternative I see if we was to shut down JGSC today would be sending them kids the fuck home. And we've been taking our homes or arrested in some capacity, so we know the trauma that comes with that. Being stripped from your people, stripped from your family before you had any prevention. I know damn well I ain't get no extra support. Ain't nobody said, what about this diversion program, or do you need to talk to somebody, or what's actually going on in that school for you to behave this way, or any of that. I don't recall having those conversations. So just having our young people, one, get sent home so they can be back with their people and feel the safety of their comfort. And I was on house arrest. I did house arrest. I was on house arrest for a little grip. That shit wasn't fun. But it was better than being in a cage because I've been in a cage before, and I've been in these placements where they felt like cages, even though they were supposed to not be. So I ain't saying put the kids on house arrest because that's incarceration as well, is it not? But I think we need to send our kids home, and we need to get individualized supports for them of what they need, what's going on with them. And if our rec centers, if they not doing numbers, if they not open, ain't nothing going on in them, let's have some workshops. Let's have programs that this kid is required to come to for the entire year. However long you was going to sentence this young boy in this prison where they was just going to rot in solitary confinement, especially if they get charged as an adult. Let's give them a sentence at a job, a sentence at the library, or somewhere that actually makes sense where they can still be nurtured and learn. Because why you take me, I ain't get no education. You got education when you was in the system?
No.
What about you? I ain't get no books. We ain't learn. We ain't doing
I did, but...
And also, when you mentioned about the programs, you know, one of the things that is really crazy out here, and let me back up from the microphone, that is really crazy out here is, like you said, you didn't know a lot of programs, and unfortunately, you see a lot of youth or young adults don't find out about a program until they're involved in the system. Why, these youth do not know about these resources or these programs before they get in trouble or have a run-in with the law, but it seems like they always find out about these resources once they're already labeled a number.
No, that's so real, because I know for me, I didn't get no support. I ain't know about none of these programs. I didn't even know my rights until after I left the system. And they was like, oh yeah, here's all the ways we fucked you, and this organization is going to fix it. This one right here, they're going to fix it. They're going to make it better. Shout out to the Achieve Independent Center, because they did their best. But I was actually reflecting with my homie and my friend, and I think this is in alignment. My best friend, we've been tight for I think over 10 years now, and we met because of the system. I joined the Achievement Independent Center on some bullshit because this girl was there and I wanted to get in. I didn't even know I qualified, which is crazy, but turned out I did qualify because I was in the system, and it was like, oh, well, were you ever in placement? Were you in DHS? Have you ever been arrested? I was like, all three of them. And they was like, oh, well, you qualify. Just give me your person name. And I gave them the name. If I remember, I don't know how I remember this nut-ass lady. Her name was Tiffany at DHS. I remember her name for some reason. But I was like, and they found her, and that's how I got in the Achieve Independent Center. But when I was reflecting on my time there, and they did have a lot of good stuff. They had a lot of programming. They even got me a job. Yeah, I was working for Planned Parenthood. That shit was crazy. But when I think about me and my friend, we was together, and this was 3 days ago. We was linking up and we was talking, and we was reflecting on all the friends we made, all the people we knew, and all our friends that was dead in prison or down KNA to this day. And we was talking about this problem. What was the common denominator? We all was in the system. I was thinking of homegirl Deanna, who ended up unaliving herself. That shit still fucked my head up. I think about my friends, Fred, Maurice, that OD, stuff like that. Or I just think of folks that are incarcerated, who've been incarcerated since I was a teenager. What up, bro? Get in here, bro. And I think about all those people. I'm like, the common denominator was we all met at AIC, a place that was trying to rewrite the wrongs.
Everybody scoot over.
Yeah, a place that was trying to rewrite the wrongs of the system that we was put in. But when I was thinking about it, and I coined this term, it's called chasing demons, and the reality is the demons actually chasing you. But that trauma from being in the system and not getting repaired literally hunts people, and I see that with my friends. I see that when I think about, I got a picture, and it's 30 of us in this picture, and only 5 of us is still with us. And I think that's crazy because it's what is this system doing to our people to the point where they got to seek drugs or they're continually getting rearrested? Because let's be real, once you're in the system, once it's almost impossible to get out. Or if we get to that point where we're just passing on, whether we unalived ourselves or somebody unalived us, how is it that we was in these systems and that not many of us actually survived these systems? And that's something I was thinking about with my homies, and I was thinking what could have stepped in front of us, or the certain ones of us that have fallen, to actually prevent us from getting to these spaces. Because that's what happens after a while. You can't, it's only so much running, right? To the point where that shit is like, yo, all this shit happened to me. I was in this place where they took me from my family, and this happened to me. And there's no one to talk about except for the other people who it happened to. And sometimes we're not always the best at supporting it. You know what I mean? What's your thoughts? Anahi, Ronnie, welcome. Ruru just joined us. What's up, brother? What's your question?
So you know how you said that, we should send youth away?
Mm-hmm.
What do we do with the youth that don't have a home to go to?
Ooh, that's a real question. You know how many buildings, factories, houses that is abandoned in Philadelphia and in many, many other cities that look like ours? We need to actually stop letting them buildings right away. We need to open them. We need to clean them bitches up, and we need to invest our taxpayer dollars in there and get a safe haven built for our young people. If I was in the office, that's what I do. Because our young people, they need a place to go where they can just feel good, shower, get the basic needs met, especially the ones who don't have a home. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say her name either, but I got a homegirl who I was in the system with, placement with, and she works at juvenile law center to this day. And from my understanding of her story, she was only in care because both her parents died and they had nowhere to put her. And that's fucked up. That's fucked up. So it's like, so y'all ain't had nowhere to put her, so you put her in a lockdown facility. There was no foster home. She couldn't wait on the list. There was nothing y'all could do. So a lot of these people, so that's a good ass question you asked, Anahi, because a lot of these people either been fucked by the system and put here just because they don't got no parents, or like they deporting a lot of folks right now.
Yeah.
Them kids are U.S. citizens that's here. They can't deport them. So where are they pulling them? I remember in I think it was like 2016, 2017 when Trump was in office. Fuck that nigga for real. He was trying to we remember it was one of the prisons we shut down in Philly. I want to say either Vision Quest. Yeah, it was Vision Quest. Yeah. Where they was trying to send folks from Arizona and Texas who've been stripped from their families to our prisons to hold them there that they ain't do shit. So it's like, come on. That happens every day where it's just because a young person have no place to go, that means put them in the system, when in reality, we need a safe haven, an actual safe haven, because if you go on DHS website, I'm about to pull that shit up. Y'all run y'all thoughts real quick, and when they come, I'm going to read what their mission statement is, and it's such a fucking contradiction. It's such a contradiction.
One thing that comes to mind when we say that we need spaces for our young folks, and it's definitely a real thing. And 2 years ago they put $4 million in the JJC. I think it was 2 years ago, a year ago. It wasn't that long ago, but the joint right there on 46th Street, they put like $4 or $5 million into it. And then the crazy thing about that is right across the street is the homeless shelter. And it's like you got right on the same block, we can make a decision what we want to put money into. Because it's crazy that this is the conversation, because me and somebody was talking about this like 3 days ago, riding up that block, like, these young boys' moms is over here. I would like to do that type of research to ask that question. Like, these young boys are over here because of the joint across the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many of these young people family is in that homeless shelter across the street, or been in that homeless shelter across the street? So if we was going to decide what we was going to put money into right there on the same block, why would we choose the juvenile detention center where most of these young people are here because of what's going on across the street? You feel what I'm saying? And that's like the first thing that comes to mind. But then in the work that we do, it's a whole bunch of free spaces that we get offered. That people got all these office buildings in. It's a free space on 915. They allow me to use it. But this be the thing that be crazy to me. They don't want no children in there though. Anything we do centered around children is always, well, we want the walls to stay rent ready, or we don't want anything to get broken, a sound bowl. I don't care about no sound bowls. To be honest, when I'm weighing it out, I'm baby sound bowl. Fuck that sound bowl.
Right. It ain't the sound bowl for the healing of the babies.
But y'all know what I'm talking about in these spaces. They put all of this stuff in the spaces, and then really what they're doing is saying no children allowed. You know what I'm saying? Well, we have a space for all of us to do self-care, to do the work, and be able to work freely and make our money. But why we ain't providing these same spaces for childcare? I know a bunch of free spaces in the city. Y'all do too. Beautiful looking spots.
Yeah,
it's a joint on Springfield, and don't forget your wisdom. But right across the street from where I'm at, it was organization got a floor in that joint for a whole year for free. Like, but we ain't got no space for the babies though. And y'all know what those buildings look like on like 9th and Spring Garden. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all know what them floors and them suites and all that. You got you like, bro, we got house, like, we ain't even gotta get into it. But those are two things that I think about when we say we don't got no spaces for our children. One, you got what's going on 46 and Market. Y'all got a homeless shelter on one side of the street, youth detention on the other side of the street. Y'all put money in the youth detention.
You talking about the Methodist gym?
Yeah, right there. What's that joint called?
They got
on Market Street. It's on Market, right across the street.
Exactly
And then us being folks that do the work that we do and the amount of money that actually is in the city, we know a bunch of free spaces where we get to work at and do, you know, resource events and chat and shoot and whatever we want to do. But then y'all tell us ain't no space for the babies.
And they still ain't built no drop-in center. They still ain't built no drop-in center for our kids to like come through and just chill. Like, imagine if our kids had an actual place to chill, pop they shit, enjoy their time, play a little video game, whatever the case may be. I actually pulled up the DHS mission statement, and this shit fucks my head up every time I see it. I'm gonna read that, John, to you. Our vision is to improve outcomes for all Philadelphia's children, family, adults, and to reimagine a more inclusive and equitable world where children are safe, families are strong, and communities have access to strong schools. Oh my God, libraries, recreation, and public parks. Where's the lie, guys? Where's the lie? At what point is it all of it? Is it some of it? Because I've been in Philly majority of my life. I've been here 10 toes down. I love Philadelphia. Y'all know North Philly, rooted in Southwest. And no matter what part of the city I've been in, whether I was a kid, an adult, in the system, out the system, never once have I seen DHS, what the fuck they say they was going to do, improve outcomes for the children, families, and adults. I haven't seen it. I haven't been in that safe place. I've been in their building. Doesn't feel safe. I've been in the places they sent me. I've been in JJSC. I've been in court. I've been in the libraries, and let's be real, only the libraries in predominantly white areas, or the ones that's, you know, Vine Street, that's the big boy. Those are the only ones that's being, like, taken care of for real, or is, like, a real nice place to be where you can get, like, some programming, some shit going on. The rec centers, majority of them shut down. So where is we all pay taxes here. Where's that money going towards? And how is it improving the lives of any of us?
Funny you bring that up, because they talking about the budget. Right now. I was watching it, you know, yesterday. I was caught up on it. I'm watching the public hearings and stuff, and I don't usually care about the public hearings because I think that's the way they play with folks. They play with folks' stories. They play with narratives. They know they're not going to listen to what folks got to say. It's a fake way to say that you're fighting that time. Let's just go do the public hearings. Not saying that it's not important, but they get people trapped in just thinking, we just want to go down there and use your pain, tell your story. We're going to give you a little bit to add to. Exactly. That's what the public hearing becomes. It's not for that. I wouldn't say people who actually go up there and do it believe that, but organizations and politicians know that this is a game. This is a showy game. You know what I mean? But I'm watching it yesterday, and I'm listening to what the council folks are voting for and against. And for me, that was the most important part. I needed to hear when they say the names after what the bill is, who's saying yay and nay. You feel what I'm saying? That's the most important part for me. No disrespect to the folks who are doing the public hearing, talking about why these bills should pass or not pass. No disrespect for y'all. What I'm listening for is when the bill come down, when they say Gaudier, yay or nay. That's what's important to me. When they say Kendra, yay or nay. That's what's important to me. O'Rourke, yay or nay. Curtis Jones. Kenyatta Johnson, who's else in the city council that look like me?
And the question really is,
you understand what I'm saying?
Yes or no to what's in our best interest? Or are you just going with the flow of your peers just to make shit easier? Because I feel like I've been in these hearings and I've seen it done. There's been times where I've been in them and what I wanted happened. And then there was times where I left them and I was like, had a fucking attitude. And that always threw me. Like, what's y'all thoughts on this? Like, how y'all feeling? Council people, what they approve, what they don't approve.
I do agree with, council members, or just people in politics in general, just, agreeing with their peers. They're not really they don't really have the best interests for the people, at heart for the people. And also speaking about the budgeting, and seeing that how much money the mayor is giving to the police. And just overall, I was just recently at the City Hall building and was one of the speakers speaking about the budget, but I didn't get to speak, unfortunately. I never really looked at who is saying yes and who was saying no to the bill. I usually just say, okay, well, the votes didn't win. We didn't win this bill, so it's not being passed. And I was just literally at the House of Representatives and was able to sit in the room with all the politicians and see the board with the numbers and see who was yay or nay. So yeah, it's just, I feel like, it's all just a game, and they know that a lot of these organizations, like Jaru mentioned, in politics, they know what it's headed for and how why it's set up the way it is for us to not succeed.
Exactly, and why the fuck they keep moving the goalposts? Can we talk about that? I feel like that's maybe that's next
that
episode.
budget thing is more why we need to pay attention to how they moving the goalposts. So it's like, for me, it's a bunch of people working for the same thing, giving us the impression that they're different entities working for money for us. So DHS is connected to the school district, is connected to the DA's office, it's connected to family court, which is connected to juvenile detention. So we see a feeder system from DHS, we see a feeder system from the school district going to family court, and then into these places that we are abolishing. So that's what the budget is paying all of these people. And they got us thinking, DHS is saying, well, we're fighting for children and they're giving money to them. The school district, we're fighting for the education and they're giving money to them. The law enforcement is saying, we're trying to keep everybody safe and y'all don't want... Nah, bro, all y'all work in a continuum. I ain't making this up. You can look at where the money going. They always say follow the money. That's the budget. So what I noticed was everybody that's transporting black bodies in the way that we are describing are the people, the entities getting paid. If we talk about school to prison pipeline, that means the school district is getting money to send our children to prison. If you're saying all of these children in DHS, you're not even telling, and I always got to put this out because I had a drop-in center. I don't know how it's ran right now. It became a youth access point, and I never seen any youth in there after it became a youth homeless access point. I'm saying it wrong, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm following.
It went from being just a community drop-in center because we wanted funding. More funding came this way.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, on Broad Street. Y'all know.
I know exactly.
If you know me, you know where I was at, and you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So we ain't got to. You ain't. But
also, I watched the decline. I remember when they first opened. I was at the events. I was at the circles. I was at all that. And then I watched how it was like, oh, this is what it is. And then, woo, now
so
it's something else.
That's my thing about the budget. If we talking about DHS, as we talked about, and what are y'all doing with the money? The mission statement say y'all do one thing, but we, with experience and the ability to give an analysis, are saying y'all doing something different. And it's proven. School district, same thing. Y'all have a phrase. School to prison pipeline. Y'all have a slogan. Y'all have something people can actually put their fingers to and say,
and no
this is what's
happening at the same time.
Right. So y'all getting y'all money in the budget, and you got a certain amount of people arguing for y'all money. You know what I'm saying? And then you got criminal justice. Then you got the police and all these folks.
They always get the
That's all getting the money. And then I always ask this question when we talk about the budget, because this is what it makes me think. If we really did cut crime in half, you know what I mean? If we really did cut crime in half, then that would mean that part of the budget wouldn't be necessary. I don't think a lot of people would want that. I don't think a lot of people in law enforcement, and the reason why I can speak from experience, because I've seen people in a community pick it, and I gotta, because it's stuck in my brain. I've seen people in the community pick it to keep a prison open. If the prison is closing, that means it did what it's supposed to do. You don't have criminals coming through. How else do you keep a prison open? You need more criminals. What are y'all picketing for? How do we keep a prison open? These are regular citizens.
Need more criminals.
How do you keep a prison open? There's no other way to keep a prison open than keep prisoners coming through. So if we are picketing to keep it open, in essence, what are we doing? So that's what the budget is to me. That's what I see in the Philadelphia budget. And then again, the folks that look like me is controlling all the levers, so that makes the budget even crazier. You know what I mean? So like that's what we want to know. Where is the housing? Where is this? Where is that? We got 4 things that our budget is giving all the money to. And they all have a horrible record with our babies.
Terrible record. Nah, you just said it for real. Real, you was talking heavy. And I actually asked folks this earlier. If we was to shut down JJSC this month, this week, this year, whatever, what would you suggest be done with all those babies that's in that prison right now?
One, I'm very, everybody's about to start talking more and more about environmental justice because that's how you're going to be able to get your money because you're not going to be able to get your money with violence and stuff like that anymore. So with that being said, that's more, but that always been a thing for me. Me and you talked about that. Like environmental justice issues are important to me because if everybody want to talk about living in this colorblind world, which is not real, I'm not on that. I'm just saying if you want to talk like that, then we need to start talking about how we deal with the planet because it affects all of us.
Oh, absolutely. And I remember
so
you
we want a unifying thing. Exactly. The boy from Alaska and shit. So
I remember that.
The first thing that I would do with all our little brothers and sisters, we got a bunch of farms all over the city that need to be clean, that need to have regular workers every day, that need to have people who get up 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and go work at Life Do Grow. Go work at Peace Park. Go work at Re-Entry Farm. Go work at Peace Park too. I know a bunch of farms that I'm not remembering, but they all over the city.
So many in the city.
Our
right
sister, what's her name? Y'all know her? Farmer Joan. Got 120 acres in Westchester, y'all. She want people to come work on it. A bunch of them babies will be going up there. Because she want people to take trips to come back and forth from the city to come up there. So right off the rip, I put all of them on city farms. That'll be the program from the rip. Because all these farms already got a system in place for volunteers and programs and all that. So you can't say, well, they don't have capacity. They don't know what to do with them. Now they got a bunch of shit to do with them. Considering what y'all was already doing with them, nothing. Traumatizing them and abusing them and all that, sending them out worse. So, you know, what I'm telling you, at least they might get a little dirty, know how to grow something. You know, get in the mud, you know, throw some dirt, you know what I mean? Like, at least, that's the, you know, I don't see anything other than that. It's kind of, farms are like libraries to me. Tell me the last time you heard anything crazy happen in a library. Seriously.
Shit, nah.
Beef, fight, anything. Anything, just anything.
And you know what? I'm glad we always in alignment, bro. I feel like we always is, because when I answered that, I said we need, instead of sentencing them in like these incarcerations and stuff, we need to put our young boys to work. Sentence them to the library or to that community cafe or the farm or whatever it is. Figure out their interests. They might tell you exactly where they need to be, and we can just find that space for them. They don't always gotta. They can, cause what is it? I think I always hear somebody say this and be like, I paid my debt to society after they get out. Like, let's have them actually pay their debt to society in a way that's beneficial and healing to them. Like,
and I gotta cut in on that, cause not that that's wrong, cause I understand that me and you have conversations. So when you say society, I understand the idea of society and you is community. You're not thinking about the society we talk about and what we learned in school and all that good stuff.
No.
I know that's where it come from, but I just know from talking to you, you mean more like community than society or what they tell us when we get locked up.
Our people.
I'm not you don't, listen, anybody that ever been locked up from my community, I don't care what you did. I'm saying it again. I don't care what you did. You don't owe society nothing. You were created. And you did exactly what this society created you to do. And you went to prison.
Say that shit.
And somewhere along the line, you figured out that wasn't the right thing to do. And you don't owe nobody but yourself to do right for your folks, the people that you come from, the actual community that you probably hurt because of those people, because of these people. So, again, and that crosses a lot of the conversations y'all want to have about what do we do with the kids? What do we do with the children?
Nurture them.
We just take care of them. And whatever we got to go through to do that, we got to do it because y'all made them this way. Y'all made them this way. I read this book called A Long Way Gone, man. If y'all ever get a chance, especially any brothers that been through anybody, any black person, it's called A Long Way Gone. It's about child soldiers. And Ishmael Beer, that's the brother's name. It's a part in there where after they all was getting pulled out of war, they took them to what and here would be placement. But what they did was they allowed them to explode. Like the staff was getting hurt and everything and coming back. One staff member lost an eye. It was crazy shit. Like these kids, because they was coming back from real war. Like these young boys was generals and you know what I mean? So when we talk about gang shit, we was warring like real. If think about Fairmount Park, we Uncaged with Fairmount Park. Like y'all out in Fairmount Park with kids. You know what I mean? That's how it look over there. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, when they was pulling them out, they took them to placement. And they was basically telling these young men like, no, whatever y'all doing to get this out of y'all, we gotta take it. Cause somebody put it in y'all. Y'all didn't come out like this. And we know that y'all was babies before this happened to y'all. Now, I'm not saying folks is going to be willing to go to that extreme, but I'm asking the question, why not? Y'all did it to them.
I can't wait for the next discussion because we're going to have to, it's getting hot in here. We're going to have to continue that on, especially because when you was talking, especially the placement aspect, it got me thinking about the history of placement and remember foster trains, how it really started, but we're going to chop that up next episode. We're Uncaged Potential Justice from the ground up. If I was to give y'all any call to action, that call to action would be a safe space for your young person. Figure out what's going on in their world and how you can improve that. I'm Britt. This is Nahi. We got Rue over here.
Appreciate
and
y'all.
Rodney with me. We Uncaged Potential Justice from the ground up. Tune into the next episode. Fuck with us.
Say a prayer for our youth. It's like